Good evening, people, and welcome back to Cruising on Crypto. I am Craig, and if you like a channel that talks about cryptocurrencies, but adds that extra benefit of talking about how you can stake, yield farm, and maybe get involved in an OM project to make amazing returns, which we often call passive income for owning cryptocurrencies, then this is a channel for you. You should subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any future episodes. Hit that bell notification. And when you've seen enough of this video that you're satisfied that it was valuable to you, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. It helps the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, which is always important. So let's talk about Spartacus. Spartacus, in a nutshell, is an OM fork. And what is an OM? Well, OM is the coin for Olympus DAO. It was the very first one. Call it the granddaddy. And it's funny, in the crypto space, we say, oh, it's the old granddaddy of the space. And it's been around for like less than a year. But it was so successful, and the formula that they used made so much sense that now there's a bunch of OM forks where they've taken the Olympus DAO formula and they've tweaked it and made it their own and done things to try and improve on what Olympus DAO originally did. One of them is Spartacus. It's one of the 3 OM projects I'm presently invested in. Now, on just full disclosure here, I already was well invested in Spartacus. When the Spartacus developers found out I was a investor and that I had this YouTube channel, they asked if I would like to be sponsored to do a dedicated video on it. So in full disclosure, this is a sponsored video. So I will not cut away to an ad, which is good for you. But just so you know, there was some remuneration for me to make this, but it really wasn't a hard decision for me because I was already an investor. And I will show you my wallet and how much I have invested just for full disclosure. And everything you see in there, I bought with my own money. I've grown it by staking within the Spartacus protocol, and none of it came from any of the developers. So just full disclosure. But let's get into it. So when you get to Spartacus, you get this splash page. This is the dashboard, and this is where you're going to find all the valuable information on any of the OM projects. If I go to the original Olympus DAO and I go to the dashboard, doesn't that look very familiar? Yeah, so they're kind of copying and pasting, which is fine, because if the wheel isn't broken, why reinvent it, right? So this is very similar. You're going to see this. One thing that is on here, we'll come back to it, is this APY over time. Now let me make myself just a little bit smaller so you can see that. This is the APY over time. And this is important to notice because Olympus was the first. Right now, they're paying 6,714%. And that's way down here, way down here. So you can imagine, although they don't have a Y axis to tell you what this number is, but this number here, oh, actually it does if you go highlight over it, was somewhere above 105,000%. So what they do with their formula is as time goes on, the APY falls, which is important to remember because that implies if you can get into a project just as good as this, but be in at the beginning of the project, you will make substantially more mind-blowing returns versus if you got in today in Olympus DAO. So there you go. But I just wanted to show you Olympus DAO's dashboard looks very similar, and they have the same thing where they're going to talk about bonds. And as you can see, we'll remember this, the returns, the discount for buying a bond is quite small because it's a very mature OM, I guess you want to call it, or DAO. And then staking. And again, as we already mentioned, when you stake in here, you're getting about 6,000. Now it says 6,909%. So let's go back to Spartacus. So Spartacus, the dashboard looks very similar, although they don't show you the APY falling over time, maybe because they're too new and they really don't know what it's going to be. Down the road, they might throw that little graph on there. But let's make myself a little bit bigger again. But yeah, so this is the dashboard. Now here's what is important. These statistics will tell you what stage a DAO is in, because there's multiple forks you can get into. I'm actually in 3. But this one has some really amazing characteristics. Look at this backed per SPA. And when they say backed, they mean this risk-free rate. So look at 3 numbers here. You got total value deposited. That's how much money people have put into Spartacus right now to stake or buy bonds. It's $121 million. The market value of these treasuries is $109 million. The premium is what they pay out to the stakers to get these great returns. So people will bid up. They're so in love with this kind of idea that people will pay this kind of money. As you can see, high risk, high return. There's a lot of volatility in the price of SPA, in the price of any of these ohm forks. You can see that within the last day, it's gone from $159 all the way up to $220, fallen back down to $181, and is now at $204. That's volatility within one day. So that's kind of where the risk comes in. But where you don't see is that you don't ever have to worry about going to zero. So let me try and explain this to you. This is the value of all the assets in there. This is the market value of the treasury. Now, the treasury currently has two coins. One is a DAI coin, which is a stable coin. So it's pegged to the US dollar. No risk there. It's always going to be worth a US dollar. The other one that's there is the wrapped Phantom coin. Now, Spartacus is on the Phantom blockchain. So you're going to need to be on that blockchain. You're going to need to have a little bit of Phantom in your wallet to pay the gas fees for any sort of transactions. But you could buy a bond, as you can see over here, in wrapped Phantom, DAI, or liquidity pool token of SPA, which is their token, and DAI together. And from that, you're going to get a usual discount. But what's happened as when we show you this thing is the bonds, they reprice them every so often. And when the price got really high, they must have pegged the new price of the bonds up here somewhere, and it's subsequently fallen. And therefore, right now, the bonds are not at a discount, they're at a premium. And let me just hit refresh to make sure that is true. Yeah, so the bonds are at a premium, so you wouldn't buy these bonds right now. In other words, the price of the Spartacus coin is $204, and you're buying a bond right now to say you're going to pay $236 for a SPA coin. So clearly you wouldn't do that. That would just be silly. So right now, bonds are off the table, not even an option. If it was an option, then I could buy with DAI. I could buy, actually, I'll just show you that right now. You're going to see that the DAI bond right now, if I said max, because it's DAI, I've got DAI in my wallet, there's $750 there. It'll tell me what my rate of return is over the next 5 days, minus 901%. So yeah, you don't ever want to have a minus rate of return. So you're not going to buy it. But if it was at a discount, which it usually is, then you would buy it here and you would get a 9% discount. Let's just say it was flipped and it was 9%. You'd be getting a 9% discount on the SPA tokens you're going to buy. And that bond would release over 5 days. So I'd love to give you an example. I'll probably just for a different example of the same sort of thing, let me go to my Temple DAO. All right, so this is another ohm fork. And if I go into bonds, there you go. This is a newer project than Spartacus. Newer, read riskier, right? Because it's just in its infancy and it could, go terribly wrong. So you keep that in mind. But because of that, they have to incentivize people to come in. So if you have BUSD, now keep in mind, this is on the Binance Smart Chain, so they're not using DAI, they're using BUSD, but it's a stable coin nonetheless. If you buy a bond here, you're buying at a 10.11% return on investment over 5 days. That's right, 10% paid to you over 5 days. And it pays it to you in terms of a discount on the price of the bond. Once you buy this, then it's time released. And as you can see here, I already have 2 bonds in here. One was paid for with WBNB, wrapped BNB. One was paid for with BUSD. And every 8 hours, there's a rebase. So you want to claim and stake before this clock runs down to 0. Because every 8 hours, it counts how much you have in staking and therefore gives you a return. This is Temple DAO. I only wanted to show you that because being a new project, the bonds are way higher rates of return than you're going to get in a more mature one like Spartacus, which normally would be a discount, but right now is not. If you want to go to the older one, like we talked about with Olympus DAO, look at the rates of return or the discounts in buying their bonds. Some of them are actually negative as well, which means they're actually at a premium, so you wouldn't buy those. But the other ones are not really much of a discount. So in that case, you're probably just best to buy the coin and stake right away, because if you go to staking, you're paying 6,901%. But let's go back to Spartacus. Staking. It's paying 11.60% rate of return for 5 days. And that's not for the year, that's for 5 days. So that's how they get this 302,000%. Because if you take this rate of return in every 8 hours, you're making this much. So this is my actual dollar value. I presently have 94 SPA staked. Every 8 hours, as it stands right now, I get another 0.6973 SPA added into my principal. So this 94 will go up to 95.5 something. So, of course, exponential growth. Every 8 hours, it's going to see how many SPA do you have in here, and it's going to multiply that by 0.7347% for that 8-hour period. Not for the day, just for that 8-hour period. And it's going to keep adding SPA back in over and over and over again. It is really just mind-blowing. Now, as we showed you from the Ohm one, we can't expect 302,000% forever. Obviously, everybody who puts money in this would be a billionaire in a couple of years, right? So clearly not something that will last this high for very long, but still, as you can see from Ohm, 6,909%, that's still mind-blowing. If you really think about it, compared to what you can get in the brick and mortar bank of less than 1%, 6,900% is insane. And that's for a mature project. Spartacus is kind of getting to be mature, but not quite there yet. And Temple DAO, which I showed you already, is in its infancy. So you're going to expect more returns in the ones that are just starting than the ones that have been around for a little while. So keep that in mind. So now you see how it works. You can buy bonds if they're at a discount to get in a little cheaper, give you that extra boost of rate of return, and once you get staking, then you're going to get whatever the posted rate of return is. Something that's interesting, I wish I had a real number to use here. Let's picture these not being negative, but being positive. So you're getting a discount. Just the back of the envelope calculation. If it was paying 10% discount to buy a DAI bond, so let's say you had enough money that you were going to get 10 SPA coins by buying the bond at this discounted price. So it's going to get released over 5 days. So up here, when you have bonds, you're going to see that every few minutes, you're going to see a tiny little bit more of claimable bonds that you can take SPA out and start staking it. Again, I'll use Temple just so that the numbers make more sense to you. Every so often, this number ticks up, and before the next rebase, every 8 hours, you hit claim and stake. So then it takes the claimable stuff and puts it over into the staked area. So I'm making 16% staked here. I'm making whatever the discount was when I bought the bonds here. The back of the envelope calculation is this. If you're getting a 10% discount, that's 10%. Since it's time released, it works out to be about half of the rate of return of the staking gets added to it. So if you're getting a 10% discount, and in this case you're getting let's just say 11%, let's make it 12, easy number to divide by 2. A 12% rate of return every 5 days. So you're going to get 10 plus half of the 12, which is 6%. 10 and 6, 16% 5-day rate of return by buying the bonds and then staking it as it gets time released versus just buying the SPA coin and staking it. So there is some thought process that goes in there. Again, when it's not at a discount, clearly that's not an option. So if you wanted to get in right now, you're going to buy SPA tokens and put it right in here and make 11.606% for 5 days, which works out to $302,000 or 302,000%. Okay, a couple other things I'm going to mention very quickly because I don't want this video to go on too long. There is a Bootstrap event coming up, I believe tomorrow, where they've got a new wing called Spartacadabra. And if you click on that button here that shows you, it'll bring you here. Now, if you say start LBP, it doesn't actually officially start till tomorrow. It says right here, launching December 1st, 2021 at 12 p.m. Once you get in there, it's going to be, again, they've forked off of Olympus DAOs. They had one called Abracadabra. Let me just find that. This is Abracadabra. So it is a borrowing, lending, staking platform. It's different than the Ohm Spartacus, where it's only one coin. You can get on here, you can stake, you can yield farm, and it allows you to take your already staked SPA coins. See, I have 92.92 S SPA coins. They can stay staked, and you can bring it over to Spartacadabra and use it as collateral to borrow more whatever coin, use the example of borrowing more SPA coin, you could take that borrowed SPA coin, come over here and deposit it into the staking pool and get more rates of return on SPA you didn't even own a second ago. And they don't require you to take your SPA out of staking. You're actually sending over SPA to Spartacus to use as collateral to borrow more of whatever coin. But I'm thinking the most obvious one would be have SPA coin staked, bring it to Spartacus, count it as collateral, borrow more SPA coin, put it in staking, and now you've just exponentially increased your rate of return on your initial SPA coins. So that is very exciting. It is starting tomorrow, so this is very time sensitive, but be prepared that that's going to happen. And all the existing SPA token owners, I believe there's going to be an airdrop of Spartacus new coin called Charm, and that's their governance coin for Spartacus. But to read more about that, go into the docs and look at Spartacus. They will explain what it's all about there. I don't want this video to go on for 40 minutes where I go on to a tangent about Spartacus, but it's going to open up a lot of doors to more yield farming options within the Spartacus ecosystem on Phantom. So that's very exciting. And it just gives more power to Spartacus because it's got a synergy. And it's also going to unlock a lot of SPA value. So the value of the SPA token, when this happens, there's going to be a lot more demand for the coin. And that's probably why it's been sort of going up in the last few days as we get closer and closer to the Spartacus launch event. So there we go. So there's a lot to take in there. Oh, one thing I just wanted to ram home one more time is the risk-free backing. So down here, your risk-free value of treasury assets. And as you can see, there's only one coin mentioned in this risk-free, and that is only the stable coin. As you can see up here, there's a higher number because they're including Phantom. Down here, they're only including the risk-free coin of DAI, which is a stable coin. So they're saying the treasury presently has $50 million of DAI in there. And you're wondering, well, how is this thing growing? Well, A, people buying bonds are bringing more money into the treasury. So this risk-free value will go up just by new depositors coming in. Also, all of these own projects take their treasury, and as you know from watching my other episodes, they're finding things like Curve Finance or Celsius or whoever, and they're saying, well, we got all this DAI just sitting here. We might as well lend it out and make whatever, 10, 15, 20%. So even without anybody putting any more money into the treasury, this treasury value is going up, and that is your risk-free kind of safety net. So look at the numbers at the top. Right now, SPA is trading at $204. And your backed per SPA is $136.76. So as you can see, the coin really cannot fall below $136.76, which is an awesome opportunity if we go into a bear market. If the price of SPA ever started to fall, but you were still making a rate of return, and you weren't too far above the backed staking price of SPA, you really can't go lower than that. So if Spartacus is paying, let's just say much lower. Let's say they're paying 50,000%, instead of 320,000%, even 10,000%. And you were buying in just above the risk-free backed level of stablecoins, then you've got nowhere to fall to because the DAI is there to back up every one of the SPA tokens. So yeah, could be very, very exciting to use this type of own project, this rebase project, during a bear market if you can get in at a really good price. And again, hopefully you'll get, bonds will go back to being a discount and you can get in at a lower price than even the going market rate. So there we go. Hopefully you found this exciting because I know what I went from CeFi, which was like I was on Binance staking stuff, and that's what I knew when it first started. And then I went, oh, wait a second, there's DeFi, there's PancakeSwap, there's AutoFarm, there's Planet Finance. There's all these places where I can just take my two altcoins and bring it over there and marry them together and create a liquidity pool and make what I thought was way better rates of return than Binance for sure, staking. And now I'm finding this DeFi 2.0. And it is mind-blowing, as the thumbnail says. Mind-blowing and also kind of satisfying to know that you really can't have this coin go to zero. I mean, how many other cryptocurrencies can you say that about? If you buy Shiba Inu, if you buy anything, you could wake up tomorrow and the coin is worth zero because there's nothing backing it. The only reason the thing has value is the greater fool theory. I buy it at $100 and I hope that down the road I can sell it to you for $200. You buy it for $200, hoping the next guy will buy it for $400. And that's how the value of those coins go up, just strictly on hype. Now, when we get into a bear market and the average altcoin falls 70, 80, 90, 95%, everybody's going to be running for the exit and all these hype coins are going to go maybe to zero. At least if we're talking about like a Spartacus, where you have a backed staking level for each coin that is backed by a stable coin, you have that peace of mind. And that's pretty awesome that you can get such great rates of return and also know that you're not going to wake up tomorrow and your investment is worth zero. So there you go. Hopefully you found this informative, entertaining, enjoyable. Give it a thumbs up if so. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future episodes on crypto, but more importantly, staking, yield farming, and getting passive income from your crypto investments. So look forward to that. So this is Craig signing off, wishing you happiness, health, and wealth in that order. Ciao for now.